Hello, 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 and good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of Visibility Made Easy. And this is all about visibility. Are you doing it together or doing it alone? Question for you. So as usual, my name is Jenny Kovacs. I'm known by many as the Queen of Being Seen. I'm all about helping busy business owners to spread their ripples far and wide, whether they do that through what they write, through what they say, or through how they record. So good evening. If this is your first time of viewing this, either live or on the replay, you will find that I can't see you. You can see me. I can see a number count. You know, more than welcome to sit in the background and watch. But the best fun we get from these is when you participate. Say hi to the other people online. So already off the bat, we've got Ian. He says, "Evening, Jenny." And we've got Alan. So it's the men's call tonight. Good on you, men, for getting on there and being cool and being quick. So you'll see me every now and then glance like this. Now, there's a reason for this. I am looking at my computer because on my computer, I just want to always have like a backup plan and make sure that as I'm doing these Facebook Lives, that I can actually see all the comments that go through. So tonight is all around whether we get visible alone or do it together. And you know, when we are a business owner, we wear so many hats. We wear the hats of the marketing department. We wear the hats of the sales team. We wear the hats of the spokesperson. We wear so many different hats. And that's even before we've looked at our accounts and the things that we do. So if you know of anyone else who could really use some help with getting visible, standing out, being seen, do share this with them, because I have made a plan. Oh, thank you, Alan. It's told me that you've just shared my video, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. I have a plan to do these Facebook Lives Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. UK, 11 a.m. PST, and I think it's 2 p.m. EDT, or the other way around. You know what I mean. But from the 1st of April, which is actually a Saturday, and from the following Monday, the 3rd of April, these will be stripped back slightly, so there'll only be a couple of these, a couple of nights a week. I want you to get really great value, and I want you to be able to not be overstuffed or overfilled and digest these from your friends. So why did I pick the topic for tonight? One of the things that I see a lot of people in business do is struggle. They struggle because, as I say, they're wearing all of these hats, and sometimes we don't know the best way to do a job that we've never had to do in our lives until we've had our own business. So there are a couple of different ways. The obvious ways: you can ask for help, you can take on members of a team. Hi, France-Lise, you're with the men tonight, Alan and Ian. And as I say, if you know of anyone who could use visibility made easier for them, especially if they've got busy lives and they're a business, maybe they're running a family or a number of business, then please feel free to share this with them as well. And let the Vibers know. If you're part of the Visibility Vibes tribe, let them know that we are on air. There's lots of really great stuff going on in the Vibes tribe at the moment. You guys really excite me, thrill me, all rolled into one. So thank you for that, and thank you for the love too. I appreciate that. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is whether, you know, how do we know whether to go it alone? How do we know whether to go it with a group, and what can we do? So I thought I would share some experiences, and I've actually made some notes. There you go, on my pink post-it note tonight, because I didn't want to negate or neglect certain elements of where I've been helped in my business. So in order to be more visible, in order to be more seen, in order to reach out, there's lots of different ways that you can do this. And you can do this in a group format or a group setting, and you can do it in a solo setting too. One of the ways in which, you know, that I found this really effective, I'm going to give you some examples so that you can place yourself, you know, even if it's in your imagination and something that you're working towards or looking for. I want you to be able to place yourself in the spot that feels best and comfortable for you. Okay, no restrictions, you know, no limits, you know, if everything, you know, if you knew you couldn't fail and all of that kind of stuff. So when I have activated my ability most, there have been ways that I've done this on my own, and there's been ways that I've done this in a group, and I thought I would share some of those ways. So it's almost like group versus one-to-one. So One of the first things that I did, and I kind of, to be honest with you, I stumbled across it by accident in my business. So one of the things I did, I remember it was like the day that changed my life. I attended a small group event. It was in Bath. There were 12 people in the room, and I, bearing in mind I come from a very corporate background, I was a couple of years into my business. I'd been doing a lot of corporate training, more corporate training than entrepreneurial training at that point, but really realised the gap that I could fill, because a lot of these small business owners couldn't get access to the training. Hey, Ali's on the line, everyone. Just reminded me of something. They couldn't get access to training in the same way that the corporates got, but who was properly training and looking after their continued personal development. So one of the things that I found really life-changing was being in a room of people, which wasn't a seminar, wasn't a big conference, a small group of people that all had very different businesses. And I think on the day in the room, there was somebody that wrote poetry, there was somebody that dealt with tantra, there was someone who was a psychologist in the room, there was somebody who was a lawyer, there was myself who was the trainer, there was someone else who was a consultant, all these different people that worked in the healing arts. Excuse me. And what I learned for the first time was that when you're in this melting pot of a small group of people, there's so much information you can pick up. There's so much learning you can pick up. It's amazing how many people or how many things you can learn from people who seemingly aren't even in the same industry as you. It's almost like you get the answer to problems before they've arisen. So for me, that was really life-changing. And although that was in 2012, I can't believe it, coming up to 5 years ago, something really magical happened on that day. It was a small enough room to be able to bond with other people. Some of these people lived overseas. And within that room, some of these people went on to become clients of mine. All of them definitely became really great friends of mine. But they were the sort of people, especially in that room in that day, you could voice your big dreams. Now think about this, and just let me know by voting. Sorry, I've just had a pop-up on my screen, just got rid of that. Have you ever been like planning your business, looking at how you can grow, thinking about what you wanted to do next, thinking about the future of your business, and had what I call a big, hairy, scary goal? The sort of goal that takes your breath away. If you've experienced thinking, I really want to do this thing, I don't need you to share what it is, but just give me a thumbs up or a love heart across the screen. If you've ever had that experience where it's almost like my dream, my vision for my business is so big, not only does it take my breath away, but it actually, it feels so important that I can't share it with my family or I can't share it with my friends. Yeah, a couple of you have love-hearted across the screen, and I certainly did. One way in which, how do I explain this? It's almost like a container. It's almost like... it's like being a chemist or an alchemist, and you're popping different ingredients into the pot. And then there's one piece that catalyses it to create gold. Now, the common misconception is the piece that catalyses it and creates gold is the person at the front of the room, the subject matter expert, the person who's brought everyone together. But I actually don't believe that to be true. Although that person might be a catalyst, all of those ingredients, i.e. all of those people in the room, are really, really important. It's like they add a magical mix to what's going on in that room. So if you resonate with that, if you've ever had that experience before, you'll understand what I mean. But here's the thing. Hey, Namisha's on, everyone. Namisha, you're on with Ali, France, Lees, Alan and Ian so far, and a few other people who are hopping on and off and watching. So when you go in for that small group, it could be as little as 3 people. It could be like mine was 12. It can be that really delicious melting pot. And it's almost like they say 2 heads are better than 1. But when you have these group of different brilliant minds around, you can create so much from that. Namisha says, hello, everyone. Now you said that, do you know what I want to say to you, Namisha? Piana vida! Right, sorry, I just had to get that out of my system. Sorry, it's a bit of an in-joke. Will make no sense to anyone apart from Namisha and anyone who, was on the trip. So anyway, I shall get back. Misha says, big love to me. Oh, thank you. I wish I could send you all back love hearts and stuff as well. So if you are in your business, you know, sometimes you hit a brick wall, sometimes you get stuck, sometimes you're like, is this the right thing? Am I overthinking this? What can I do? Those small rooms are really, really precious. It's a really great way to get what I'd call the meeting of minds, to get your voice out. So what if you don't want to be in that setting? You've got a very clear idea. You've got that big, hairy, scary goal that's deep in the bottom of your stomach, you know, the pit of your stomach, it's in the depths of your heart, and you want to get it out there. But you realise and recognise that whilst it's a good idea to have lots of different minds on it, you know very clearly what you want to do. You're not just too sure how to do it. So the other benefit of that, on the flip side, rather than having what I would refer to as a small group VIP day, then you might go for an individual VIP day. And in that, it's just you and me. But here's the thing again, my head, your head, for example. So let me give you an example of the sorts of things people would go in and do that for. And this is really important when it comes to your, comes to your visibility. So I remember having a client who was a really great author, not even an aspiring author. She thought she was an aspiring author, but she was an author. She'd already written a couple of books, been approached by a big publishing house. And she wanted to be able to take that book and like add power to be able to share that message, a very powerful message, with people around the world. She came to me because she was nervous about speaking publicly, not scared, but just nervous. How would my book be received? How would I translate what I've written down in my book into the world? And more importantly, once I've written my book, how will I be able to connect with clients? So we spent a day together. We spent a day together in a lovely location where we were able to look at where she was going to, what she wanted to do. She had a couple of speaking gigs lined up, and I heard since then she actually sent me a clip from a talk that she did at Google. Now, she did this talk at Google, but Google wouldn't allow her to share it publicly, but I got to see it. And here was this woman standing in her power, sharing her story, sharing the insights that she got from the book, and having this really captive audience. So they knew who she was. It raised her visibility. She was the person at the front of the room, and it really put her on the map. And obviously, as a coach, I work with people in a confidential nature. And I know I see other coaches do it, but I'm not the coach that will go, this is the person, unless the person says, yeah, that was me, and this is the experience I had. But you'll never get that from me. So that's just kind of a small group, almost a VIP, as opposed to a large group VIP. Now, if you are in or around the Birmingham area or can get to Birmingham on the 24th of March, I am going to be hosting, it's a Friday, so take a day out of your business to really exponentially grow your business. I'm going to be hosting a small group VIP day called Oh What Shall I Share? This day is designed to help you get out in the world, help you know what kind of content to put together, especially if you're trying to sell your services or your products or even your programs, especially if you want to get your message out there in the world, especially if you are the type of person that helps people. If this is something that's of interest to you and you're watching this on the replay, at the moment the event is only shown in the Visibility Vibes Tribe group. So if you're not already a member, or if you are already a member, go in there, have a look up the events tab, and you'll see that. And up until, I can't remember which date it is, but it's I've given you a week or so to get your early bird seat at just 49 quid. £49. You know, what could you buy for £49? You go out for a nice meal, you've probably blown that budget. The event that I put on in London on the 4th of March sold out. So it's sold out. I like to keep the numbers small. So the next opportunity is to go to the one in Birmingham. Now, if you're saying, can't go to Birmingham, would love to go to one in London, I do have another date stashed away in my back pocket. I thought it was only fair for the people that weren't quick enough and missed out on the first one to offer it to them first. But if you're interested in that, please send me a message in the box above, message me on this page, and I will make sure that you get the details of that. So that was kind of by the by. So if you know that you want to sit in a melting pot of different people, then go for that. So that's the difference between the small group VIP day and the the individual VIP day. I do have a couple of spots on my calendar. So I always get this after the event. People say, oh, but I just want to do the VIP day with you. I need you to get in contact with me. And and then I can let you know a bit more about what it entails, what it includes, how much it is. It's a higher ticket price, but trust me, it's worth it. Most people on average will make back at least 3 times, if not more, in revenue. The last time I calculated that, it was 1,408% return on investment. It's pretty cool. So the next way that you can honour yourself by working in a group or working singularly is, let me tell you the story of somebody that decided to work singularly. So I have a couple of clients that I take on, new clients, an intake of them every month or so. And they tend to work with me for a year. Now, these people are very confident people. They know what they're doing. Some of them have got multiple businesses. Some of them have got individual businesses. And I call this program the sounding board. And the reason for that is, you know, when you're in your business, you're on a mission, you're happily letting your business or businesses tick over. Maybe you've got a business partner, maybe you've got a team, maybe you've got staff. When you need to make those real core decisions, yes, you want to consult with your team, but ultimately the decision lies with you, and sometimes you've got directors and people that aren't part of the business. You don't feel like you have a business partner, so you're able to have a sounding board, sound somebody out who can almost, you can bounce the ideas from, you can ask questions, relevant questions, and that person is trained facilitator, trained to listen and trained to bounce back what's necessary. Also trained to step in and say that's absolutely ridiculous, or it's going to be a stretch, how are you going to obtain that? And there's that saying that it can be lonely at the front of the ship. So when you're guiding the ship, sometimes it can be a really, really lonely experience. So my sounding board clients tend to be, you know, consultants, CEOs, directors of their own company. Normally, in fact, all of the sounding board clients I have are involved in at least 2 or more companies and businesses. So what they get from me is like a face-to-face once a month. We never spend more than an hour together. We get stuff done, and they go off, and they also are able to call me whenever they want. Now, why do I bring that up? Why do I mention that? That is how the sounding board piece works. But the most important piece for them as a client is being able to bounce those ideas, but having those, well, what do I say moments? How do I deal with this? This is at the top of my mind and fresh because I've been writing an article about this particular service. It's almost like being a professional agony aunt, but one who's qualified to deal with anything. So whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's got intertwined, you know, whether you're about to do a big pitch for a big company, whether you are working within another company and you need to be really super effective, whether you get involved in the politics of the company, all sorts of things. It's really important to have somebody to bounce that off, especially when you're leading the ship. So most successful leaders know that they have got a confidant they can speak to, and that's why that's such a juicy piece. So some people prefer that kind of thing, whereas others would prefer, and I've got other clients who, so let's take one who's a retail business. In their retail business, they actually worked with me over a 6-month period. They wanted to increase their visibility and increase their sales. Sometimes when you're doing that in a group environment, it's harder to stand out and do the things that you want to do. Whereas when you're doing that in a singular environment, it's like, what do I need here? Okay, we'll get that in place. How am I going to get it? And we'll move on. In fact, I was speaking to a lovely lady earlier on who is like, I really want to brand her the mouthpiece and the mindset, because this woman is amazing at helping people to speak. Basically to speak. Maybe it's podcasting, maybe it's recordings. She's really, really excellent at that, and she's not well known for that, but she's excellent at it. She's even got the voice to go with it. But one thing that people don't expect when they go to open their mouth to speak, a bit like when you open your mouth to be visible, is you don't expect the monkey mind to get in the way. You know, the stuff that tells you can't do this, who do you think you are? Most people will approach and say, well, I need to be able to speak, or I need to be able to do a podcast, or I need to be able to do this thing. But then when it comes down to it, the thing that actually stops us is the mindset. So I'm calling them the mouthpiece and the mindset, a formidable combination. And if that's something that, you know, you think to yourself, I need to speak out more, I need to do more of that, I'd love to know who this mystery person is. Let me know, and I'll pass your details on. So with this person, they would work just as well in a one-to-one situation in their visibility and getting out there as they would in like a workshop environment, a workshop or a mastermind where they can sit and go through any problems they're having, celebrate their successes and get out there in the world. Now, why do I mention all of this? Because it seems a strange thing to mention for visibility. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever been in a situation where you go to do something to get yourself out there? Maybe you're going to write a blog post. Maybe you're going to put a post on social media. Maybe you're about to go to a networking meeting and speak about what you do. And although you go and speak about what you do, you either get there and forget to say the thing that you'd rehearsed in your head, or you get there and talk about what you do, but you come away thinking, oh my gosh, I rambled. I didn't really do an effective job of that. If you've ever had that experience, give me a thumbs up or a love heart. If you ever had the experience of needing to put yourself out there, and perhaps you didn't because something got in the way, or perhaps you did, but then spent ages saying, oh, actually, I fluffed that a bit, I rambled, I should have done this, I could have said that. Either that or type a yes in the box. Have you ever had that experience? Well, one of you has, apparently. If I could put a thumbs up now, I would be typing in the box, yes, yes, yes. And this applies to you guys who are watching on the replay as well. So when you get into that space, it's almost like you need to change your state. When you get into that space of, oh my gosh, I could have done so much better, I should have mentioned this, or I could have done that, or whatever. I call this a state change. Let me tell you how easy. What about all the time, says Francelise. You don't do that all the time, Francelise. I've seen and heard you articulate beautifully. When you forget that you are not meant to do it beautifully, you do it so beautifully. So no worries there. I want to tell you how easy it is to change your state by ending with a story of my nephew, who is now 14, but when he was about 4, he had his face painted like Spider-Man. We walked through the shopping centre, he had his Spider-Man suit on, he had his blue face with his red lines, and he had a fantastic day. So we got home, there was me and his mum and him. We got home and his mum was making his dinner and he decided that he wanted the chocolate biscuits. So he went over for the chocolate biscuits and mum said, no, you can't have the chocolate biscuits, you're about to have your dinner. So his little face, his little like lips started to quiver, and his little face was like, and then all of a sudden his mum went, stop, don't cry. If you cry, you're going to smudge all of your Spider-Man makeup and it's all going to run. And it was so funny. In this moment, this little 4-year-old was like, and then he just like froze for a second and then smiled again and forgot all about the fact that his life was over because he couldn't have the chocolate biscuit because he was about to have his dinner. And the funny thing about that is, whether you're 4 or 104 or anywhere in between, we have the ability to change our state at any given moment. Now, one of the saddest things I see for the business owners, going back to the point that I made right at the start, is that we try and do everything else ourselves. You know, we try to do our marketing, our sales, we try to do our accounts, we try to do our own promotion, we try to do, you know, the course building, we try to do all of that and the job. And, you know, all of us can change our state. One of the easiest ways I know as a business owner, especially if you're a small business owner, and I know that a lot of entrepreneurs don't like to be known as small business owners. They like the facade that they're a big department. But the truth of the matter is, you can either struggle and do it alone, or you can, you know, get help. Now, if you're saying to yourself, oh, but I can't do a mastermind because, you know, it's going to be really expensive. Well, how do you know? Have you had the conversation? Have you asked how much it is? A bit like if you're buying a table for your house, like a bit of furniture or a car. Have the conversation, sit in the seat and say, okay, well, how can I make this happen? Oh, Ali says, Francelise says, bless you, Jenny, thanks. No problem. Ali says, do you know the really exciting thing for me is that as adults, we too can do that if only we remembered how. Exactement. If only we remembered how. And you know what? This is going to be the most bizarre piece of advice in terms of being visible. How do we change our state from being kind of sad to happy in any given moment? What we do is, hey, Niche, Can I say that again? Pura vida! Nisha will know what that means. So will Namisha. Type in the box Pura vida if you know what that means. So here's how we can do this as an adult. Practice collecting the most happiest moments, the most happiest states. Many times a day, whether it's gratitude or something else, wake up in the morning and be grateful for the things you see. Put a smile on your dial by recounting and recalling things that make you happy. You know, I've got these nice flowers behind me. I decided a few weeks ago, and it's something I used to do years ago, so simple, just to go and buy flowers. I tend to like one type of flowers in a vase. Maybe it's a weird OCD thing I've got, even though I'm not actually OCD. So these are some tulips. You know, I had some yellow roses, and every week I will just treat myself to those, because when I'm in this office behind the studio lights here, working hard behind my computer, seeing something from the outside in brings me such joy. So learn to create memories as you go along. Learn to create fun as you go along, almost as if you're a child. Ali says, yeah, how true is that? If people want to prove how easy it is to change their state, try this exercise. Stand up and laugh out loud like Father Christmas. I dare you not to be able to change your state. Like, ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Like that. Although, I probably look like the most miserable Father Christmas that there was. But absolutely, we can change our state. Now, and I'm being very serious here, I read a post in a group, not my group, but someone else's group, about someone who was in a really dark place. If at that moment in time you're in a dark place and doing that feels like too much of a stretch, here's what you do. Start to recall great memories. Have a look at a picture of your children, your grandchildren, your nephews, your relatives. Start with that. Have something that's a visual reminder of beauty, something that you like. Have your Jenny doll sitting on your shelf so that you can be really, really silly at any time you want to. Recall a piece of music. If you're feeling in a foul mood, go and get a piece of music that you really love to dance to, and very quickly you'll change your state. And if after that piece of music you feel a bit better but not quite, listen to another piece or listen to it again. Really embrace your senses. What can you look at? What can you hear? You know, what can you taste? What can you feel? Recall something or a time where you're feeling mega happy. By doing that, you start to evoke these great sensations within you, and that's a really quick way to change your state. And if there's a particular state that you like me thinking about my nephew with his face painted brings me joy, then I might just put face painted nephew, something that can really, really, help me to remember. Ali comes up with a really great point. Dancing, movement is great for changing your state. So getting up and moving. Actually, I'll leave you with one thing. If you are on your own and it's a bit of a time before you get to a group, and if you're looking for a group of people that get the whole big business dream piece, you know, there are many groups out there on Facebook. I'd love you to join my group, the Visibility Vibes Tribe, but there are some other cracking groups on Facebook. There's some cracking coaches out there that give you some great motivation. So do, if you've got really great resources, do share them in the Visibility Vibe Tribe. So here's something to do. If you've been sat at your computer for more than an hour and you haven't taken a break or got up and gone to the loo or had a cup of tea or had a glass of water, start by shaking your fingers. Just doing that with your fingers. There's no right or wrong in this. And if you've got kids, get them to do it with you and get them to remind you to do it. And then start kind of like moving your ankles, your wrists as well. And then your elbows. You don't have to look pretty or dance. And then your shoulders, and then your head. And then I invite you to stand up, like wiggle your hips. You're not dancing, it doesn't have to be in time or in beat. And just shake everything out of your body. This is a great top tip if you're about to get on a stage and speak and you're feeling a bit nervous. So by now your fingers are wiggling, your wrists are wiggling, your elbows are wiggling, your hips are wiggling, your knees and your toes, and you're jumping up and down. It's very hard to maintain a sorry state, a sad state, when you've done that. It breathes new life, new energy into you. Then put on your music, grab your mascot, take your card, look at inspirational words or quotes. Find a way that you can inspire yourself and change your state before the event happens, especially if you're doing it alone. But the best thing I know, find your community, find your tribe, find those people that you know you're meant to be with. go to workshops, go to networking, get out from behind your screen. It's a really great way not only to build your business, but to change your state and change your confidence. Hope that's been helpful to you. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know in the box below, you know, even if you're watching this on the replay, have you had experience of doing this in a group? Have you had experience of doing it alone? You will hear me talking in the forthcoming weeks a lot about the power of a mastermind, the power of the group, the power of collaboration. I believe in it so strongly, and I've seen people have the most amazing results in their personal life and in their professional life just by coming together, and not with many people and not for thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. So I really want to be sharing that. So if you want to, if you're one of the people that didn't get on the first round of Oh What Shall I Share, come over to the Visibility Vibes Tribe and have a look in the events tab. If you're the sort of person that says, you know, that's fine, but I want to do this one-to-one, it's my time, 2017, I'm not messing about, I want to be out there before the summer, what are you waiting for? Get in contact, hit me up on the message above, and I will be more than happy to have a conversation with you. Now, the conversation is not a sales conversation. The conversation is to see whether we would work well together. And if we work well together, then of course, obviously on the call, I'll let you know how we can do that. So lots of love to you. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you this time, same time tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Bring a friend. And if I can ask one favour, think of one person that you know in business that you could message and ask them to like this page. I have a reason for asking. I have a really ambitious and burning desire of a goal to grow the audience on this page, and I've got some juicy content that is about to be rolled out, whether you're looking for visibility on video, visibility in the flesh, and I don't want anyone to miss out. So if you know of one other person or two other friends, go to the button at the top, invite one or two of those friends to like this page, and I promise you I'll serve them as well as I hope I'm serving you now. Lots of love, night and bye for now.